Yes, yes, yes. Mr. Raphael Dawkins with the Combat Radio. Let's get the music up. Let's get the music up just a little bit. Okay. And you know what it is. You've seen the advert. You've seen the thumbnails. And you know who we're bringing you live here today. None other than Xavier Miller. Xavier, how do you do? Welcome back to the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. What's that? What am I hearing there? What am I hearing there? Xavier, Xavier, have you got your headphones? Have you got your headphones? I'm hearing a tapping, like a key.
I can hear you.
You can hear me.
I can hear you good, man.
But the thing is, we can't hear you too well. And there's like a tapping, like a keyboard tapping in the background. Okay. It's tapping. So if you can get your headphones. All right, appreciate that. Okay, so that's the wonders of live. That's the wonders of live radio, live combat radio. Okay, so what we doing? Who have you got in the building? Got quite a few people up in the building. It's good to have you. So add to the stream. Okay, Xavier, how are you?
All good.
Oh, good. It's been an eventful. Last time we spoke, you were going into the Dillian Whyte fight, Dillian Whyte versus Povetkin. And obviously, you said you'd come back after the fight, and you're a man of your word. You're back here now. Where do we begin? Okay. Didn't go the way we had hoped.
No, yep. Yeah, that's like didn't go. They didn't know. They didn't know.
It didn't.
No.
Which? Woo. Where do we begin? Povetkin, better than you thought, worse than you thought. Talk to me about the fight.
Povetkin, as advertised, as expected. Former Olympian, former world champion. He's levels. So I expected, a tough fight. Listen, it was a hard pill to swallow, man. I mean, the night of the fight, just lost for words. Just in shock like everybody else. I mean, we were well on top, after 2 knockdowns. Dillian, took a little time to warm up, but from the second round onwards, looked the part, looked like he was doing in sparring. Jab was working really well. But Povetkin was always dangerous, So, we kept doing what we're doing, stuck to the game plan, and just slowly breaking him down, with a jab and, good Dillian landing good body shots. I mean, Povetkin was also landing good body shots, but Dillian was landing some good body shots. And they were definitely affecting Povetkin. But, listen, heavyweight boxing and just, I wouldn't say a lapse in concentration. I would just say a miscalculation. It was a shot. It was well set up, and the shot came up through the middle, and that's end of the fight. It was really devastating for Dillian because, as I said before, with me, I'm always straight. That training camp was great. He had very good sparring. He had a very good strength and conditioning team. Everything went the way, actually better than expected. We really had no issues. I mean, didn't have any major injuries. There's nothing I can tell anybody to try to justify what happened there. It was just a moment, and I still can't believe it's actually happened. But Dillian is a amazing character. Came out the next day, said, "Listen, it was good work." And that's how we talk in the gym. It was good work. It was a good fight. We need to run it back, and he's got his rematch clause, and we get to run it back.
You get to run it back. Yeah, it's Povetkin. I have to be honest with you. I mean, even though I was hoping that Dillian would win, we over here at Combat Radio were hoping that Dillian would win. I never wrote off Povetkin. I've heard a lot of people talking about, he's old, he's this, he's that. But Povetkin is a seasoned veteran Olympic gold medalist, ex-WBA heavyweight champion, 15 years in the game, only ever been beat by two people, Vladimir Klitschko and Anthony Joshua, and only ever stopped by one, Anthony Joshua. So I had to say, why take, even before the fight, I was like, why take that fight, Dillian? Why? That's to me. I'll be honest with you. I'll be straight with you. That's a 50-50 fight to me. That's a 50-50 fight, personally.
But to be, I could respond to that easily.
Yeah.
Dillian is one of those boxers, like a throwback to the 90s era, who just wants to fight good competition. He's what boxing should be. Not everyone goes about their business that way, which is fair enough. I don't tell anybody how to handle their career, but that's why we love the era. I mean, he keeps fighting good guys because he wants to get better. That's why he does it. He wants to get better. So, I don't blame him. He said no regrets. Obviously it was a painful experience.
Of course.
I've got no regrets. On my end, obviously, listen, when you are thrust into the spotlight, it's a very big responsibility, and you have to take the good with the bad. If he had won, everybody would be screaming my name. He's lost. It was just one punch, but everyone's going to be on me. And listen, you have to be able to take that and deal with it, and that's just the way it is. At the end of the day, boxing is a results business. No matter how good Dillian looked, we didn't get the victory. So I've got to take the negative, views from others. Everyone's entitled to an opinion. I've been around long enough and now hardened enough to deal with this business. I'm now up at this level. Obviously, I intend to stay at this level. I spent years building fighters who are about to become TV fighters. The ones that are good enough will do that. So, again, it's just part of my journey. I have to say a big thanks to Dillian because obviously it wasn't an ideal situation losing his coach. I stepped up. He had trust in me. I had trust in him. That's why I stayed out there that long in another country, away from my family, away from my friends. We had a job to do. And to be honest with you, it's one of the best camps I've been involved in. I've been involved in quite a few camps with well-known fighters. I don't have to name drop. I hope everybody knows now how long I've been around. But that camp was really, really good. The team was happy. Dillian was happy. The vibe in the camp was really good. The sparring was really good. We did everything that we should be doing to prepare for somebody like Povetkin. And obviously, after 4 rounds, I'm sure I have not seen the fight back, but from me watching it live, more than likely everybody watching it and the commentators are going to talk about how well he was doing. You would have to tell me what they were saying because I obviously haven't seen it yet. I still haven't had a chance to see it. But from what I was looking at, Povetkin looked dangerous inside, and we were patient on the outside, and we were doing our job. And we were patient, and when the time came, Dillian launched his attacks, caught Povetkin, dropped him twice. At that point, I'm thinking, Povetkin maybe got another round and a half left in him, and he's ready to go. I couldn't see him taking much more punishment. I mean, Povetkin's had loads of good fights. Dillian dropped him twice clean. So Dillian has showed his level. Dillian was outboxing him. Again, he showed his level. But everybody's going to come back to the fact that, Povetkin did set up that shot. It was not lucky. I've been around too long. He set the shot up. He launched it. And he found something. And he was in desperate need to find something. And he found it. So I'm not going to be one to go and take that away from him. But we got the rematch. I'm very happy we got the rematch. And I get a chance to work with Dillian even further, because obviously when the news broke about Dillian and his ex-trainer, I jumped in as head coach. We had about 8 weeks, which is great. It's enough for the condition that he was in for me to implement my ideas into how I wanted Dillian to approach this fight, which he did. I give Dillian full credit. He did exactly what we'd planned to do. So the only person that's to blame is obviously the person who's in charge as the head coach, and that's me. Dillian done exactly what we've been doing in camp. So I have to give praise Dillian for that as well, because obviously, you go to another country, that's a change. You change strength and conditioning coaches, that's a change. You change head coach, that's another change. Dillian's been big enough to deal with all that, focus on his training, and put up a good fight. It was just one mistake. So we know what we need to do in the rematch, and we're going to do it. And the vibe is the relationship me and Dillian have is so good that we spoke about it on the same night. We spoke about it the next day. I spoke to him today. We're always talking, and we're already planning for me to go out to Portugal to set up camp again in a few weeks' time after he's had a bit of a rest. So yeah, me and Dillian are now in a good space. Obviously, for me, I took it very, very hard on the night because that's not what you want on your debut of a big fight. In a corner, it's not what you want. But again, I have to thank one other person, which is Dave Colwell. The guy that normally works with me in the corner. He got married, so he wasn't able to be in the corner with me. Dave Colwell was there, experienced, been in a lot of big fights. He was very good in the dressing room. Didn't have to. And then in the corner, giving Dillian sound advice. The advice that we were giving Dillian, and I haven't even worked with Dave Colwell before, it was positive, and we were coming from a very similar place. So I have to praise Dave Colwell for his for the part he played as well.
Excellente. Yeah, it was tough. It was tough on us as well. I mean, it was tough on you. It was tough on us as well. I was commentating at the time, and I must have looked away for a fraction of a second. TV's over there. I'm over here. Looked away for a fraction of a second. I looked back and I saw just caught the end of the uppercut. Just caught the end of it, and it was obvious that Dillian was out. Yeah, it was tough for us as well.
Praise Povetkin. And praise Povetkin, because Dillian actually had his hands up. He found that shot up through the middle. So again, listen, give him credit. I'll give him credit for it.
Give him credit. Absolutely give him credit. I never wrote him off. Not one time. Not once. He's a dangerous guy. He's a pedigree. It speaks for itself. And Dillian, credit to Povetkin for doing what he did. He landed a perfect punch. And credit for Dillian for wanting to fight him once and now wanting to fight him again. Dillian came out immediately. I think it was still during the live broadcast. Immediately, I think he was leaving the building. He saw Eddie Hearn and went over to him and said, asked him about the rematch. Setting up the rematch, something about the rematch. And Eddie Hearn said, yeah, that's what we're doing now. Immediately, what happened in between the knockout and Dillian walking up to Eddie talking about the rematch? What made him just ready? You must have talked in the dressing room. Did you talk? Yeah, carry on. Hmm? Yeah, did you talk?
We just sat down. Yeah, we were just talking about the punch that actually landed, but Dillian just said, "Listen, it's good work. We need to run it back." And I said to him, "Yeah, we do. That we need to run it back. We need to get that victory and move on." I don't really know what else to say. It's everyone can, they know my disappointment. So many people watching and expecting, and it's a shock. I don't think many people can say they weren't shocked. From maybe beforehand they might have picked Povetkin, but the way the fight was going, I don't think anybody could honestly say they thought Povetkin was going to win that fight after he'd been knocked down the second time. So it's boxing. boxing.
It's boxing. Yeah, he went down. He almost seemed easy for Dillian Whyte to knock him down. It's like I think one of them was a extremely short hook. It was extremely short hook. I think one of them. And Povetkin was down. I was like, whoa, what's going on? A moment later, boom, he was down again. Just before the bell got up, and then you know it's pretty close to the bell.
To be fair, the 2 times that he was down, to me, I know when a fighter is really, really hurt, and he never looked that hurt to me. I think the second time he was hurt more than the first time.
Yeah,
but it wasn't enough to just run in and gamble at that time. In hindsight, you're going to say, yeah, you know what, you knocked him down. You had time to jump on him and see what would happen. Fair play, but as you can see, the way it ended, that's how dangerous he is inside. So, you know, it's everyone can say what they want to say now, but at that moment, you know, all we had to do was just continue doing what we were doing, and eventually we would have broke him down. You know, the sequence leading up to Povetkin landing that shot again. Like I said, I have to see the whole fight back. I know he tried that combination at one point, maybe in the second or third round, but it wasn't. He didn't dip down so far and come up as if to say it was a shot that really was just going to put Dillian out. It just looked like a good combination. It didn't land, but you know he stuck with it, and eventually it did. But yeah, boxing. Frustrating, but boxing. But you know we get the rematch.
That's boxing. That's boxing. Okay, I'm gonna have to ask you the questions that other people are asking, and one of those questions is, oh, you can't hear me. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? You can't hear me.
No, can't hear you.
Okay, I'm not muted. You're not muted. Yeah, so let me just ask the chat. Can you hear me? Can you hear me in the chat? Can you hear me in the chat? Xavier still can't hear me. So it's dropped off. Can you hear me in the chat? Let me see what's going on. 1 2 1 2 chat. Can you hear me in the chat? Okay, so we can hear both of you. I think it's probably a battery issue. I think 1 2 1 2. I think they can hear. Can you hear me now, Xavier? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now, man. Yeah.
Okay, great stuff. Okay, we good. They can hear both of us loud and clear. Yes, we hear both. Okay, excellent. Okay, thank you for everybody coming in the chat. Thank you. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. Talking to Raphael Dawkins, Combat Radio, talking to Dillian Whyte's head coach, Xavier Miller, talking after the disappointing loss over down in Eddie Hearn's backyard. Okay, so obviously, I'm going to have to ask you about some of the things that, you know, some people will say. Obviously, you got positives, you got negatives, and when you lose, people seem very, very ready with the negative.
Very vocal. Very vocal. They all come out now. That's all good. That's all good.
Yeah, that's what happens when you lose. If you'd have won, then it would have been all pats on the back, you know, drinks around me. But you know the score. You know the score. So obviously, I have a responsibility to put some of the words of the naysayers to you. Okay. So this ain't for me.
Of course.
Okay. So one of the things that some have said is that, where do I start? Let's with the negatives. We're going to finish with the positives. But what's some of the things that, you know what? Let me go into the chat. Chat because I'm sure that there's going to be some naysayers. There's always going to be naysayers.
Start with all the negatives. Bring them all on. It's fine.
Let's go with the negative first, and then we finish with the positives, but we have to go to the negatives. Okay, Sousa says this is a good one. Dillian's matchmakers need the sack.
Definitely not. If you want to be a top level fighter and win world titles, you've got to fight decent competition, which he has been doing. You know, he's beaten the likes of Parker. You know, Rivas. Parker's a former world champion, so he's proved that he can beat guys at that level. So there was nothing to say that he couldn't beat Povetkin. But you know, you don't know what's going to happen until two guys are going to fight. On paper, Dillian was the favorite. You know, which is probably a strange situation for him because a couple of fights, you know, it's been either 50-50 or I know most people were favouring Parker. He's come through those, so he's proved he belonged to that level. Like I said, it's one shot. That's just boxing. I can't make excuses, or if I sit here and say, yeah, you know, he shouldn't have taken that fight, that'd be wrong. He's if he hadn't boxed somebody at that level before, then you could have questioned it. But we've seen it. You know, he was so disciplined in the Rivas fight. You know, he was so good in the Parker fight. You know, he chose the right tactics. You know, you can't fight everybody the same. And you know, he did a good job, and he did a good job here, obviously, up until that last shot. So yeah, I don't blame no matchmakers. I mean, it's in this day and age of boxing, especially in this current climate, we've seen the fights now are 50-50, which is better for the fans. I mean, what would people rather he does? Just sit around and wait, and might not even get his opportunity, or continue to fight and develop and improve as a fighter? So no, I don't think sacking the matchmaker is the key. I don't think there's any excuse, to be honest with you, at all. I can't think of one excuse. It was just you put all the blame down to me as the head coach, because we're in there fighting the fight. And if anything goes wrong, that's where you look. You don't look outside because it doesn't make sense. When matchmakers make fights, it's for you to take the fight and for you to fight the fight. And if you didn't want the fight, then you say you don't want the fight. But once the fight's been made and Dillian wants to fight everybody, absolutely everybody, should have already had his shot a long time ago. Didn't get it, but continued to fight. And, he keeps entertaining, keeps pleasing the crowd, and keeps doing what he's doing. He's working, which is what he should be doing.
100%. Okay, that's one criticism, the matchmakers. Okay, let's move on to another criticism from the naysayers. Why? Hold on, no, not why. I'll get to that one in a second. Dillian Whyte's condition. Now, to me, he looked to be in great condition. It's been a while since we've seen him in such good condition. But people are saying, I know he's been out in Portugal for 4 or 5 months, but some people are saying, some perhaps people who don't know that or even do, they say that it was a fat camp. He was over there in a fat camp. His weight goes up and down, it fluctuates, and that's the root of that's why he was tired in the 5th round. Some people are saying he was tired in the 5th round.
Well, that's an easy one. Listen, when you're out in camp for 4 or 5 months, I mean, you're out there. When you start camp, you've got a date. That date was shifted. It was supposed to be, I think, May 4th. We were working towards that date. Then the date changed again. We got a new date. Then the date changed, I think, a 3rd time. We're professional out there in camp working, managing his weight. And for Dillian needs to be commended for actually focusing and being professional throughout all the distractions. He was working really hard. He was hitting some great targets. We got down to the weight we wanted to get down to. There was no crash weight. You know, he took his time and got the weight off. So again, definitely not an issue. I think that was a good fight, a good weight for Dillian. Maybe he might feel better, a bit lighter. Maybe he felt great where he was. But I can tell you, when he came back to the corner in the 4th round, that engine hadn't even started yet. That hard work we'd done out in Portugal, he wasn't even breathing. It was Povetkin the one that was breathing. You know, Dillian we haven't even stepped up yet. If anyone's telling me in the 4th round that he looked tired, send me a video. Let me see it, because there's no way. Send me a video. You know, Dillian was, and the pace of the fight as well. There was how was he going to get tired? You know, the reason why Povetkin was getting tired because he was getting hit with good body shots, and he'd been dropped twice. When you get dropped, obviously, you know, it's wear and tear. You know, we will fatigue that little bit quicker. So that's why he looked tired. Dillian at no point looked tired. So again, no.
Yeah, I mean, it was strange to me. People saying he looked tired. He was very strange. I didn't see Dillian looking tired.
I actually haven't heard that one. I've heard a lot of madness, but that one I haven't heard. But you know, again, listen, it's not, to be honest with you, I shouldn't really call it mad because we're in camp. We know what's happening in camp. People on the outside don't know what's happening. So obviously they're going to have these questions. And I haven't got a problem with them having these questions, but I've got the facts. You know, I'm there. I know what his weight is. You know, we're working on getting his weight down every week to a target, which we did. So his weight was never a factor. Never.
It was never a fat camp. I didn't think it was a fat camp. Some people think it was a fat camp. I mean, I said my retort to that was, well, hold on, you're in a place, you're in a warm weather climate, you're training for 5 months. How the hell are you not going to be losing weight? You don't even have to focus on weight. If you're working out for 5 months in warm weather training,
yeah,
I don't even think that weight is going to come off unless you eat. Yeah, it's just going to come off.
It was never forced.
Yeah, unless you're eating pudding every night, which I'm sure that wasn't on the diet sheet. You know. So
no, the only one who was cheating was me. I was having desserts. It was just me.
Every Sunday. I've seen it. Every Sunday. Okay, so it wasn't a fat camp. Dillian apparently looked tired going into the fifth to some people. I did not see that. What I saw was Dillian taking his time, being cool, calm, and methodical. That's just my vision. That's what I saw. Some people said it was a fat camp. They've heard it from you. It wasn't a fat camp. Logic dictates if you're training in warm weather for 5 months. Holy hell! How are you not going to lose weight at a steady pace? So I don't understand that, but that's one thing that people have said. And okay, you've debunked that. You've spoken directly on that. Okay, let's go to another one. Dillian should have rushed in, and you told him not to.
I don't know what point in the fight where someone told somebody to rush in. I'm not sure where that's come from. That was never a conversation. Dillian's come back after the 4th round. You say keep doing what you're doing. You know, keep using your jab. You know, you have to remember Dillian actually dropped Povetkin because he was taking his time and setting things up. He wasn't getting into wild 50-50 exchanges and Povetkin up on the floor. You know, Dillian was doing a good job of using his jab. So no, I understand where some people are coming from. That if you drop someone a second time, maybe test them and see where they are. But as I say, from what I saw, Povetkin still looked steady on his legs to me. He still looked strong, and you know, he looked ready to fight. So you have to be calculated. Obviously, in hindsight, people are going to say, well, you know, because of what's happened, you should have just taken a gamble. And again, listen, I understand what people are saying. I get it. But, you know, it's easy to say that now. It's over.
Yeah, hindsight is 2020. Hindsight is 2020 vision. It's easy to call it in hindsight. Okay, so let's go to another popular one that I've heard. There's too many people talking to Dillian in the corner.
Again, listen, I need to go and watch the fight back, but I was happy with the information that Dave Colwell was giving to Dillian. You know, we were both saying similar things. Yes, we're completely different coaches. We've never worked corners before. That was the first time I'd officially met Dave, and I think he did a good job. You know, if we were giving out 2 completely different instructions, then it would be different. You know, we were both speaking to Dillian about, you know, either, you know, his feet, you know, or being disciplined with his jab, and just keep working and doing what he was doing. You know, me and Dave Colwell never had a problem in the corner. People like to reach and try and find something now. If, like I said, if Dillian had got the job done, they would have said that was a great partnership. But because it didn't go our way, people are going to start picking now and trying to find holes. I actually called Dave Colwell today, spoke to him and told him thank you. for helping out in the corner, because obviously one of my guys who normally works me in the corner, he got married over the weekend, so he wasn't able to be in that fight. And he takes care of a lot of things for me. Dave in the dressing room was great. You know, he looked after a lot of things, so I didn't have to do everything myself. And in the corner, he was supporting me. You know, he was speaking to the fighter. You know, he was helping out. You know, and we were all doing our job. It was a positive environment. You know, something. You know, Dillian was listening to the instructions that we were giving him. You know, that's a mark of a good fighter. You know, you take what information you need and you use it. He wasn't being given so much information where, you know, his brain would crash and he didn't know what to do. Dillian was doing the same thing round after round after round. So what are people talking about? You know, you're reaching again. Like, you don't need to reach. We've already said there's no excuses. You know, we fought the fight. Dillian fought a good fight, was doing a lot of the things we did in camp, working really well, and we got hit with a good shot. You know, I can't change, but there's no point start blaming people in the corner and stuff like that, because it doesn't make sense. Yes, he could have jumped on him, and you know what? Maybe if he did, might have got him out. But who knows? He might have rushed in, and he might have got caught. Don't know. The sensible thing for me was, if you're doing something well and it's working, for me, why change it? If you're bossing him behind the jab and breaking him up with body shots to try and take him out later, we don't need to change it. We were doing a good job. But Povetkin found something, and he changed the script. It's boxing.
Yeah, he found something. It was a. Can you appreciate the shots? Can you appreciate the setup? Can you appreciate Povetkin's shots?
Listen, when Dillian catch and shoots on guys like how he dropped Povetkin, sometimes it just looks like poetry, because he's just so good at it. The way Povetkin actually put that sequence together, it was very well executed. Take nothing away from the guy. You know, he set it up. You know, if Dillian done the same thing to him, I'd be screaming, great shot. You know, Povetkin did it to him. Listen, this is why Dillian, that's why he's a real fighter, because he said, you know what? It was good work. He appreciated it. You know, he understood it and knows what he needs to go back and do. So, again, you know, no excuses this end. There's no excuse from Dillian Whyte, and there's no excuse from anybody in his team.
No excuses. We didn't see any excuses. We haven't heard any excuses here. There have been no excuses. Which question I'll go with? The immediate rematch. Talk to me about the immediate rematch. There's much talk about. I was away from boxing for around 10 years, and I was focused on mixed martial arts. And in the mixed martial arts field, there is a school of thought, there is a philosophy, there is a philosophy that when a fighter gets knocked out, he needs to take some time out to repair the chin, repair the brain, just repair. He shouldn't take no more shots for at least 6 months. Don't take no more shots for at least 6 months. And then you have a chance of coming back good. We had seen cases in MMA where a guy who got knocked out came back really soon. And sometimes it doesn't work out. There's a school of thought. There's no real hard and fixed science to it. There's a school of thought that if you get knocked out, 6 months out. What's the thought?
What I would say is, if Dillian had taken a sustained beating and then got knocked out, I would agree. But apart from maybe an odd jab, I don't remember Dillian taking hardly any headshots in that fight until that shot landed. He was defensively good. He was either on the outside, or when he was on the inside, he had a good tight guard. So I don't know. I don't know how many clean headshots people have seen, because like I said, I need to watch it back. But from what I remember, he was defensively very good. Povetkin was landing some good shots to the body, but headshots, there was hardly anything there. So, no, I think he'll be absolutely fine. Remember, Dillian's this was his first fight since the Saudi fight in December. So by the time we get back in the ring again, it would have been a few months to really recover and allow the body to get back to where it needs to get to. And remember, Dillian's at the top of the sport. You know, he's going to get the best of the best. The testing will be of the highest level. So obviously, if there's something wrong, we will know about it. And then obviously that we have to make a different decision. But right now, Dillian's in good spirits. You know, he was talking as normal, like a few minutes after the fight, and already talking rematch and talking about, you know, what happened in the fight. And the next day, you saw the interview. Again, no ill effects whatsoever. So we will do our job as professionals and make sure he's healthy, because that's the main thing. His health is the main thing, and you know, just focus on getting back into training. There's no real rush. He's in very good condition, so we can start with just working on technical stuff. He doesn't need to put his body through what he has, you know, the last few months, because, you know, he's in good shape. So that's why he's saying, you know, he wants to get back in, so he doesn't have to hammer the body again. You know, Dillian will be absolutely fine. You know, that's for us and his team to worry about. And you know, we're good. We know what we're doing.
You guys know what you're doing. He's got the best. He's getting the best advice. He's getting the best medical treatment. If anything's wrong, it will be detected. So the two man team, did that work well?
Listen, for the fact that we'd never actually worked together before, I've seen Dave on the circuit, and it's like with most people in the circuit, it's a small community. With me, it's high and by. You know, I've always been pleasant towards everybody, always showed everybody respect. You know, they've always, you know, when I got to the bubble, when we got back to London, you know, everybody there, you know, maybe before when my name was announced, they probably didn't know who I was. But then when they saw me, they must have thought, oh, okay, it's him. Because I've always been around the sport. So, you know, they've always seen me either in the corner with somebody else or seen me with my own fighters. And especially everybody in the board and so on, they know who's around. So, you know, I would say that I think we did a good, collectively, we did a good job. You know, relationships have to be developed. Dave is a head coach within his own right. He's got his own fighters, very well established. You know, I'm coming into my own now, and he was a good support on the night. It's what we needed, you know, and the team was happy with what Dave did for us. You know, it's not easy to come in on the night and be part of a big fight like that, because obviously you're not part of the training camp. You haven't been out in Portugal 5 months. You've just come in to do a job on a night to make sure there's a bit more experience in the corner, a bit more experience. And that's exactly what he did. So again, there's no excuses. You know, you know, I've got nothing but praise and respect for Dave, and hopefully he has the same for me, because I respect all coaches, because like I say, I know what we put in. And for me to be away from my family for 5 months, I've given everything. And because I was away that long and the camp was that long, that's why I don't have any excuses with this fight. What excuse can we have? We had a good camp, we had good sparring. No excuses.
Good camp, good sparring, good training. Can Dillian, what did I say here? Can Dillian now? He's going to shape already. Conditioning, more conditioning, another opportunity to fine tune and hone. So this next camp coming so soon after the past camp, surely you're going to be building on what you've already worked with.
Yeah. And I mean, what people have to understand is that, you know, this is me and Dillian's first fight, and as you know, as a partnership. You know, I was assisting before, so we've had, I would say, even though I've been around Dillian for about a year, we had about 8 weeks together solely for this fight. You know, we've got another fight camp coming now, and that's even more time for us to develop. You know, I have to take some positives from what people are saying in the fight. I mean, I had so many messages on Instagram, because it's the only handle that I really use. And, you know, there was, honestly, I have to say thank you to everybody for sending all those messages, because it was a difficult period. Obviously, you get the odd one or two, you know, come through Instagram and say what they got to say. But listen, you got to deal with the business. But
Yeah.
this gives me and Dillian even more time to develop and work with each other. And we've already got a very good understanding. I mean, everyone can see that on the night. You know, Dillian's listening. He's doing what we're asking him to do. And you know, you don't have to tell Dillian what punches to throw. You mean he finds the target. He's one of the best heavyweights in the world. But yeah, this camp, and then you know we go and win this rematch and get ready for the next fight. The more time we spend with each other, you know, the more we get to understand exactly what it is we're looking to do. So you know, that's the positives. You know, me and Dillian are in a very, very good place, and we're just going to keep working.
You and Dillian are in a very good place. You're going to keep on working. So that's the fighter showing confidence in the coach.
Yeah, and I've got a lot of confidence in Dillian. I think there's no doubt that he will win a world title. You know, it's not gonna happen till it's supposed to happen, and it wasn't supposed to happen now. You know, we've had to put the brakes on, and we've got to go back and deal with this fight. We've got to get this fight out of the way. We've got to get this victory and get back to where we were, and we will. And then we'll move forward. You know, and then when he gets, and then it'll be again. You know, boxing's so funny. In 3 months' time, it's going to be more than likely it's going to be it's going to be a completely different conversation again. You know, and then we're going to start talking about the other guys that are at the top at the moment. So again, even with this fight, my focus was fully on Povetkin, and it looks like I'm going to have my focus on Povetkin for a bit longer than expected.
Okay. So a little bit more of the naysayers before we go to the positives. Dillian Whyte never belonged at the top. He was never any good. Those are some of the words we're hearing primarily from overseas. He was never any good. I asked the question, well, who did the WBC champ fight who had better credentials than Dillian Whyte? Who had more top 10 wins in the last year or two than Dillian Whyte? Who?
I'll be honest. That sort of question is not even worth addressing. Go on BoxRec and go and look at Dillian's record of the past couple of years. And once you've done that, then rethink what you're saying and come back and say it again and listen to what you're saying and listen to how it sounds. You know, the guy has continuously got in with good competition. What more would you want from a fighter? You're questioning his credentials, and like I said, it's best. Let's move on to the next question, because that's, like I said, I only answer sensible questions. You know, I don't have time.
100%. Okay, folks. Give me a negative, because honestly, I can't. I'm running out of negatives. I can't think of negatives. So give me a negative. Okay, let me do one more negative. Who's got a negative? Let me look for a negative. Will you need better sparring? Nigel Dennis says, will you need better sparring to mimic some of Povetkin's movements for a rematch?
It's a good question. You see, those kind of questions I like. You know? But that's simple answer is no. We had very good fight. We had very good sparring. We had a couple of really aggressive guys, had a couple of quick guys, a couple of cruiserweights as well. We had a good mix of sparring partners. You know, one of them was actually mimicking a lot of what Povetkin does. And you know, as you can see, the first 4 rounds, what we were doing in camp, Dillian was doing in the fight, and you know, it was working. So no, I personally would probably more than likely go with the same sparring partners. Might change 1 or 2 of the clientele, maybe. Might not need to, but I know that during this period, obviously, it's difficult with people getting flights and so on and so forth. But we had guys coming out and staying for a long period, so those guys were there throughout the whole of sparring. We never had no problems. So again, was the sparring, that box ticked. It was very good sparring for the whole camp. It was very good. Okay.
So I've got a good one. I've got a really good one. I'm glad you said this one, Pablo. There's been talk around the campfire that Dillian is susceptible to the uppercut. From my observations, says Pablo, Dillian's main problem is spotting the incoming uppercut. Does he need work on that? Is that his kryptonite?
Can I answer that with one word?
Yeah.
Yes. He needs to work on it. Every fighter has a fault.
Yeah.
Yeah, he needs to work on it. But you know, every fighter needs to work on all aspects of their game. But yes, obviously, it's a shot that landed, so we need to work on it, and we will do for next camp. Yeah, so a good question. Good question.
It's a great question. So what? Hold on. Okay. So
for me to honestly say, for me to say that we don't need to work on it would be ignorant, because he's just been hit heavily with that shot. So of course it needs to be addressed. So yeah, good question.
Yeah, it's a good question. John Dealey says Dillian has been put down by uppercuts by AJ, Parker, Rivas, and now Povetkin. How can you change this defensive frailty? Well, you just said, I suppose.
Well, that falls on me, because in the industry, obviously they know that, you know, I'm a defensive minded coach, you know, so again, it's something that I've got to we have to improve on together as a team, and we will.
Something we need to improve on to move on forward as a team. So it's been acknowledged, it's registered, you know about it. And I think the overriding question is, what do you change overall? What would both, I can't ask you specifically what do you change. I mean, you will sit down at the drawing board and work that out. But changes going forward, changes second time around. Are there some things that you can share? I mean, certain technical things are not to be shared, but are there some things that you can share going forward?
We didn't get the result we wanted, so we have to change a few things. Yeah. I can't go into detail what we're going to do, but again, it's fair play. If you don't get the victory, it obviously means that something went wrong. Got to make adjustments, got to make changes, and we will for the rematch.
Got to make adjustments, got to make changes. We've had Xavier here now for going on 50 minutes. He's got other interviews to do, but is this the first? Is this the first one?
Rafi, don't worry. I said to you after the fight, I would come to you first, because to be honest with you, you're one of the people that came pre-fight early, very early. I've had so much messages about, can I do interviews? I've got no problem doing interviews, but to me, I've come from the bottom and worked my way up. You know, I've done the amateur boxing, I've done the small hall shows, I've done big fights, I've worked in big corners. You guys, for me, is the same. You know, you've got the big players out there who do their boxing talks, boxing chats, and you've got the guys that are working their way up. For me, everybody should get treated the same, because we all have a part to play in the sport. So I'm always a man of my word. If I've said to you, I'll come back and I will do it. And I said, as long as you hit me up early enough, I'll come to you first, especially for a live interview, like a long interview where I get asked questions, hard questions, but I said I'll come to you first. So yeah, respect to you. Respect to you, respect to Xavier Miller. He's come on here, hasn't shied away. I hit him up. I said, are you good to go in a day or two? Are you good to go? You need more time? Because I'm not really too pushy. I like to talk to people when they're ready to talk. Xavier said, yeah, I'm ready to go. I said, you ready to go? We're ready to go. Set the date, and we made it happen. And much appreciation and much respect goes out to Xavier Miller, because this banana skin was always possible. It was always possible. If you're reading a book, and you come to this scenario, you know in the back of your mind that this could happen, because the man's been working so hard, taking hard fights, deliberately taking hard fights. And then you come to this one, and you know, if you're reading a book, that this outcome is a distinct possibility. But the man said, run it back. I want to run it back. To me, that shows confidence. To me, that says
somebody who's been in a scrap and they know he can get the guy who beat them. I know I can get him next time around. I know it. That was the impression I got from Dillian Whyte.
Yeah, and you, as a fighter, you're definitely going to feel that way when you drop someone twice.
Yeah.
You know, you had him.
Yeah.
So I'd want to. The fighter in me will want to get back in as soon as possible. So I'm with Dillian. You know, I want revenge, and you know, I'm looking forward to the camp and looking forward to the next fight. It was a big fight. It was great to be a part of the whole fight camp. I'll be honest with you, the 4 weeks, I'd say about 85-90% of those fights were like 50-50, but like genuine 50-50 fights. And Dillian's card, great fight. Savage was in a great fight. Chris Congo, so proud of him. He's part of our camp as well. He was in a great fight. You know, so yeah, I mean, the whole setup was amazing. And yeah, very different experience. I mean, obviously I've been in big fights at the O2, you know, with thousands of people. This is a little different. There wasn't really anybody there, but the attention to detail to make it look how it did on TV, have to praise Matchroom heavily, because it has looked different and better than anybody else's shows. So respect to them. Obviously, the fight camp seemed to obviously be based on, you know, getting to the climax in this big fight, and obviously we wanted the result. You know, we wanted to close the chapter. It didn't happen. There's no point crying about it, complaining about it, making excuses. That's not us. We're getting the rematch, and we get to get another big fight. And you know, you never know with the timing. Could be crowds again, might not be crowds, but either way, we just want that fight.
Either way, you just want that fight. And once again, I have to give my appreciation out to Xavier Miller for being a man of his word. we're just a little congregation over here, but we're growing, and with support a man like Xavier Miller. That's just gonna you know, be good for us, be good for the people. I think we ask good questions. I think we give a good platform for people to speak and say what they want to say. And I hope we've done that again with you, Xavier. There's always going to be criticism. People criticize you, whether you're good or you're bad or indifferent. There's always going to be criticism. But I think you guys, it shows me the fact that Dillian came out, said what he said. Let's run it back. He shows he's confident in the people around him, with the environment. He's comfortable with that. You're comfortable with that. You're sticking together to move forward. So there seems to be a lot of confidence.
Yeah, it's strange when I'm looking at like where we, you know, when we started. It's almost as though everything went too well. You know, normally during camp, you've got a problem where you've got to take a week off or so because someone gets sick or someone gets injured so they can't spar. You know how the story goes in camp. There's always camp stories. Honestly, I can tell you, we never had no problems like that. It was one of the better camps I've been involved in. So that's probably why it hurts that little bit more, because if I wish I had an excuse to give people. I don't. You know, it's just we didn't get the job done, and that's the end of it, and we're having a rematch. You know, so that's why we're coming. I mean, now we've actually got over, you know, the weekend. You know, we're going back to that positive place we were in, and just continue to work, and just develop, and just get ready.
Yes. So you've heard it here. He's answered all your questions. Dillian ain't done. Dillian is not finished. One knockout. I mean, Lennox Lewis came back from being knocked out more than once. Asim Rahman did it over in South Africa. What's his name? Oliver McCall did it. Oliver McCall did it. Lennox Lewis got knocked out twice and came back. I don't know, this new gen, some of these new gen people don't really look at the history of the sport. Even Joe Louis, he got knocked out, came back. So I don't understand this philosophy that you can't get knocked out. And Anthony Joshua, you know, TKO, came back the very next fight. So I don't know where that mentality comes from. But you, Dillian Whyte, the whole team have an opportunity for redemption. So this is what it is now. It's redemption. It's redemption time.
Yeah,
Redemption time.
Yeah, I would say the people on the outside, I'm just even shocked that people are even complaining, because when the Klitschko's were dominating, honestly, it was boring.
It was.
They were really good. It was really good. They were really good, but there was no one. We weren't really talking about anybody else. We're talking about a good 5, 6 guys right now that, you put them in, you mix them up, and you're going to get a good fight. Dillian keeps giving the people good fights. We got a rematch. We had the first fight. It was a good fight. Good fight. You definitely got the maximum violence because you got 3 knockdowns in that fight. And and Dillian wants that work. He wants that work again. So he's gonna give the fans another good fight. I mean, you can't complain about what Dillian's giving to the sport. This is the kind of fighter that he is, and this is why a lot of the old coaches, a lot of guys, that's why they like Dillian, because he's giving us that feel again. We need that. We've had fighters that are very cautious. We have fighters that are overly cautious, and at times, obviously you've got to pick your times and be smart in your career. You have to, and pick the right way to fight certain fighters. But he is, he's value for money, Dillian. This is why he's a pay-per-view fighter. We haven't even fought for the world title yet, and Dillian sells out arenas. Dillian's a pay-per-view fighter. So, I'd say just continue getting behind him. And obviously, it's a hard loss, but he's already talking about bouncing back, so he's in a good place. So no one else needs to worry. Just wait for the date. Wait for the date.
They're going to run it back. They're confident. They're happy to go forward. They would rather have won, obviously. Can Dillian? Oh, let me ask you this. This is a negative as well, but I got to ask you. There's talk from across the pond that this fight demonstrates that Dillian Whyte could have never beat Wilder.
As I said a couple of minutes ago, you put these guys in and mix them up, you're going to get good fights. I think they can all beat each other on a given day. They could. Yeah. I think the heavyweight division is that interesting at the moment, and obviously Tyson Fury is at the top of the tree right now. But you have to remember that he did get a draw with Wilder in the first fight, although a lot of people screamed that Fury was robbed. You did go down twice, so mathematically it's not easy to come back. He did, but again, that fight was close. Then he dominated in the rematch. This is boxing. You put Dillian with any of them guys, and Dillian's got the power and the boxing IQ to give anybody nightmares. And I think this is the reason why they've been stalling him for so long. Dillian's been fighting tough competition throughout, and these guys are doing a lot of talking and obviously waiting to get big fights. So Dillian's 31 years old. He's got a lot of time left in boxing. As long as he approaches the sport in the right way and continues to look after himself, Dillian's going to have loads of good fights. He's going to be involved in loads of good fights. And that's what he wants to do. He wants to be remembered for doing that, as well as obviously win the world title. That's our main objective, is to win a world title. That's what we need to do. And that's what we're going to go back to the drawing board, and that's what we're going to work on.
One loss doesn't define a man. What defines a man is how he comes back. Yeah. And they will. And that was great, Xavier Miller. Don't forget, we appreciate it. Appreciate you coming round. I'm sure it won't be the last time. Don't forget to mention, not at all. Don't forget to mention your sponsors.
Yes, please. Thank you. While I've got it on, actually, I'll say shout out to KMT. They provided my my apparel clothing. Great company. Kevin supports all my fighters. When they've got title fights, he pays for their strength and conditioning. He helps them with ticket sales. So great from Kevin. Bravos is my boxing glove company. They provide my boxing pads and my gloves. I had them on in the changing room, warming Dillian up, and I'm always using them in the gym. Great product, and great guy, Anas. And also my main sponsors are Tiger Bay and Ealing Boards and Timber. They've been supporting me from day one. They were helping me out in Portugal for the long period I was out there, and I just thank all of them, because they've been with me from the very, very, very beginning of my pro career. They actually came to my gym. We had meetings. I told them what I was going to do. I was just another coach, you know, what I was to where I was telling them I was going. They didn't have to buy into it. I always obviously believed. A lot of people in the boxing industry knew exactly where I was going, and you know, they got behind me, and I just thank them. You know, because you know, without sponsors, sometimes it's really hard to do what you're doing full time. But I've been able to do that, you know, partly because of them. So yeah, thanks to them.
Thanks to them, and thanks to you, Xavier Miller. You didn't have to do it, but you came through. And all I can do is extend our appreciation collectively over here at Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio, and upwards and onwards.
Yeah, and Raf, listen. Let everybody talk and say what they got to say. This is boxing. Like I said, I'm on social media. I listen to boxing chat shows. I love listening to it. You know, everybody's going to get critiqued. This is the sport. You know, if you can't take it, then get out of it. This is the way it is. You know, you have to take the good with the bad, and you know, everybody is entitled to an opinion. Everybody, but that's not going to stop us from doing what we're doing. You know, we're working.
100%, 100%. Xavier, I know you got other commitments today. Much appreciation for taking time out to do it.
And just quickly, last year, quick shout out to Magic. He wraps Dillian's hands. He's in the corner with me, you know, looking after any cuts or bruises or swellings. You know, he was out there with me the whole camp, done a great job. And again, you know, the three of us in the corner, it was, you know, it was a good team effort. And just saying thank you, appreciate him.
Onwards and upwards. Much appreciation to you. Give our best regards from the Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio to Dillian. And we're going to talk again soon. We're going to talk again soon. We're going to catch up soon.
No problem. Take care, bro. See you soon.
Salute to you. Take care of yourself and speak soon. Thank you. That was Xavier Miller. Much appreciation to Xavier. And now, don't go anywhere, folks. We're still live. We're still talking. We're still chopping it up. I don't want to see the numbers drop down. We're still talking. I'm going to go through the comments. So don't go anywhere. Okay. So, yeah, that was Xavier Miller. And it was great of him to take time out of his day to come over here to Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio. And everybody, if you enjoyed the content, if you enjoyed the interview, the exclusive interview, Xavier Miller's first interview since the loss, since the Povetkin fight, since the loss, and he chose to come over here to Raphael Dawkins. So much appreciation. And let me get into some of the comments. DJ Georgie Porgy says, Doc Ortiz, so-called killer without a body. Ain't nobody ducking Father Time. Yeah, I have to agree. Pablo Diablo says, big up Raf man. A man like Xavier Miller. Big respect. Absolutely. Sosa, Wise White, who has never had a belt, got better wins than Wilder. Yeah, why is that? That's not a good look. That ain't a good look. Smash that like button, folks. Smash that like button. Where are we? Cal L in the building. Sosa says Wilder would kill White. We've seen no evidence of that. We've seen no evidence at all. But I have seen evidence that Dillian Whyte can get in close. Different tactics with Wilder than White, obviously. Getting close and without much movement, without much wind-up, can crack a jaw. We've seen him do it to multiples of people, including Povetkin. Shout out to Povetkin for the win. Congratulations to him. But we saw Dillian drop him twice with relative ease. It didn't even look like he was swinging hard. Clipped him, dropped him twice. Good questions also. Why did the WBC Mafia never give White a chance? We know why. Yeah, we do know why. Because he's a dangerous, dangerous, dangerous guy. Yeah, he got knocked out, but he's knocked out more people than he's been knocked out. You know what I mean? Well, he's been knocked out twice. By whom? Anthony Joshua and Alexander Povetkin. Yeah, that's you know, that's not exactly shameful. That's not exactly shameful. And let's not forget, they're running it back. They're going to do it again. Tiny Tim says Wilder got killed by pillow fists. OMG. OMG. What else we got here? We got loads and loads and loads and loads. I'm going to leave that for people to scroll through the chat themselves. And yeah, much appreciation to Xavier Miller for coming over. Much appreciation for everybody. That's a very good question. When has Wilder used an uppercut? That's a damn good question. I'd like to hear the answer from Mr. Sosa. I would like to hear the answer to that one from Mr. Sosa. I'm intrigued. Come on with it, Mr. Sosa. Anyway, what we got here? Wilder on the back foot is defenseless. I would have to agree. Let's, have I missed something? Did I miss something? Did I miss something? Yeah, cheers, Javier. Absolutely. Absolutement. Why didn't Javier wear the Povetkin lookalike outfit when the whole team did? Yeah, I think he was wearing it. I've seen pictures of him wearing it. May have come out of it at some point, but yeah, for sure. I did see him wearing it. Big up yourself, coach. Absolutement, absolutement. Yeah, and so I think that's it. I think we've done it. I think we've wrapped it up. Much appreciation to everyone in the chat. Smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, smash that share button, and tell a friend to tell a friend to tell a friend. And come to the end of another one. Do I go live a bit later? What day is it? Tuesday? Maybe. We shall have to wait and see. But in the meantime, it's the Raphael Dawkins, it's the Combat Radio, it's the like, it's the subscribe, it's the comments, it's the shares, and it is the hitting that bell icon to stay updated with news and notifications. And don't forget about the live show. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. And who do you have next? That's right, it's Rick Glazer every Wednesday right here on Raphael Dawkins Combat Radio, 9 p.m. UK time. What is that? That's 4 p.m. in the East Coast and 1 p.m. over there on the West. And what we got here? We got thanks to everyone. Great show. Yes. Big up Raf on another one. That's excellente. Okay, so don't forget, we got the Rick Glazer tomorrow, Wednesday, every Wednesday. And we will be talking to Javier again. Make no doubt of that. But in the meantime, the only thing that is left for me to say is blessed.